What's up, everybody? So Impact Wrestling sent me a press release this morning in regards to Bound for Glory. So we've been waiting on a venue announcement for a long time, ever since they made the announcement that they were going to Las Vegas for this pay-per-view back during a Slammiversary in July. Well, I guess the big news, or not so big news, which I think we all kind of saw this one coming, unfortunately, but Impact Wrestling, their biggest show of the year, will emanate from Sam's Town Live in Las Vegas, Nevada on Saturday night, October 23rd. The prices range from $30 to $300, and the tickets go on sale Friday, September 24th, starting at 10 a.m. Eastern Time, 7 a.m. Pacific. The show, Bound for Glory, will actually air live from 10 p.m. Eastern Time, to that way that they can accommodate AEW and their fans, because AEW has been moved from Wednesday to Saturday that week due to the NHL airing on TNT. So this is a complete dud of an announcement, and there are two people at fault. Mostly the people that are at fault is Impact Wrestling, because they could have just announced a venue during Slammiversary, and when they didn't, what they did is they built up anticipation within their fan base to think that something bigger might be coming along. And maybe Impact had something bigger in their back pocket and it fell through. Who knows? Maybe the deal didn't just get signed. But we all kind of knew this a month ago. Sean Ross Sapp had reported in Fightful Select that this was the likely destination. And I don't know why. If it's been out for a long time, if the deal was done back in July, they should have just come with it, because when they build up anticipation for an event like this within their fan base, whose minds can go in all different directions, what they do is they set them up for a fail, right? They set their fans up for an announcement that was ultimately going to be a dud. They built up anticipation that they couldn't deliver on. And Impact fans have unrealistic ideas of what Impact Wrestling is capable of these days. I heard from a lot of people that they should do the Orleans, that they should do the Cox Pavilion, that they should do the MGM Grand, the Mandalay Bay, yada yada yada. And I knew that none of those venues, well, maybe the Orleans could have been something. They weren't going to sell it out, but they might have been able to sell a couple of thousand tickets there. But Impact Wrestling fans need to get their minds back down to earth a little bit and get more realistic with what Impact's capabilities are. Sam's Town is a fine venue. It is not in a great part of town. It's not the nicest venue in Las Vegas. There's 1,000 nicer places for them to go. But this is what they chose, because it's a cost-effective place for them to play. Sam's Town is about 25-30 minute drive from the Strip, depending on traffic. If you're flying in and you're staying on the Strip in one of those hotels, it's going to be quite the cab ride, or hopefully you can get an Uber and split the fare to get to Sam's Town. If you're flying in there, you're not going to want to get a rental car, because the rental car prices are insane right now everywhere, especially in Las Vegas. So, or if you're driving there, hey, this is easy, man. If you're on the West Coast and you're just making the drive, it's not really going to be much of a difference for you. The venue doesn't really look all that nice on television. They've played this place before. Ring of Honor has done several shows there. It houses a lot of indie shows. I know that the local Las Vegas indie called Future Stars of Wrestling, they do shows there all the time. So not the greatest place to play, not the nicest venue, definitely not the biggest. I think the seating capacity on the website says 1,900. Ain't no way in hell for a wrestling pay-per-view setup that they're actually going to be able to fit 1,900 people in there. We're probably looking at more, 750,000 tops for these shows. But, it's the most cost-effective way for them to do it. Look, if Impact felt like they could do a nicer venue and recoup their money, they would have. Impact Wrestling fans need to get their minds around the fact that they just can't right now, and get more realistic with what Impact's capabilities are. So whenever they're holding off on these announcements, which they shouldn't do anymore, by the way, because it sets up unrealistic expectations, when they do that, Impact Wrestling fans need to get their minds geared towards, okay, what small venue in this area could they possibly play at? Not, hey, what big venue could they play at? Because I think that that's unrealistic right now with what they're doing. But they're doing Bound for Glory on Saturday, October 23rd. They get titanium ticket package for $300, includes front row tickets to the pay-per-view and both Sunday and Monday Impact tapings. So that's kind of cool. Plus, you get commemorative photos and many more perks. Then, of course, they're taping on Sunday and Monday as well. So they're doing a whole series of tapings there. And then Scott D'Amore said that if you thought Hard to Kill, Rebellion, and Slammiversary were great events, rest assured Impact has saved the best for our last pay-per-view of the year, I promise you. So he's making a big promise. This is actually going to beat Hard to Kill, Rebellion, and Slammiversary, and I agree with him. Those are all great events, and I think Slammiversary was the best of those three. So if he plans to top that, which Bound for Glory in the last several years has not been able to top Slammiversary. Slammiversary has been better than Bound for Glory the last few years, so it's got some big shoes to fill. Now let's get to the moving the start time. They're starting at 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific, later than they normally start, 2 hours later, and that's because the move will allow wrestling fans to enjoy both BFG and a special Saturday night edition of AEW's flagship show, Dynamite. This is coming straight from their press release. And Scott D'Amore says, "It really is a great time to be a fan of professional wrestling. There are more world-class athletes than ever before and more promotions putting on top-class events. Unfortunately, there are the same amount of Saturday nights in a year, so we figured out a way for Bound for Glory to start after AEW Dynamite ends." And I think that's a smart move. And I hope that they have... I hope that they buy ad time on Saturday Night Dynamite. I think that would be the smart play. Look, they didn't invest in a nice venue. They're not investing in a big production for their pay-per-view. And I think it's time to invest in advertising on a big show on TNT, a big wrestling show, especially considering, hopefully, I don't know if AEW is going to be pulling their talent from Bound for Glory, but as of right now, the AEW logo is still on Bound for Glory. So I'm thinking that we're going to see at least Christian Cage on that show, and then possibly one more member of the roster from AEW appearing on Bound for Glory. So it would be the smart move to actually invest in your product and invest in your pay-per-view and buy ad time on Dynamite to be able to drive people from that show to your pay-per-view. But hey, look. A disappointing announcement, an announcement that we all saw coming, but worthy of talking about. And hey, hopefully Hard to Kill is in a nicer venue, but I wouldn't get my hopes up. All right, I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.